Good morning, good evening, good night. No matter where you on this planet, I'm sending you love and light. Check me out. I want to talk about Snowfall season 6. Actually, I just want to talk about Snowfall. There were some very important takeaways in that TV show. One of the most important ones is never outshine the master. They completely brought new context to never outshine the master. You know, you was able to see the different mentalities be developed throughout the story, and his auntie and Jerome primarily I want to focus on. Because at a certain point, when they put in so much work, they started feeling entitled. They started feeling their ego and what they wanted to do, and this is what compelled them to outshine the master. And I'm not saying that Franklin was their boss or god or king or anything like that, but he put everybody on. He put everybody on. He was the guy with the long vision. He got everything started. He's the reason everybody's eating. And I truly believe his deepest intention was to really look out for everybody. But when you got a kid who's being thrown to the wolves, he's meeting a CIA officer, he's dealing with millions and tons of dope, beyond anything that he could ever really imagine, on top of murder, looking over his own shoulder. It was a lot of stuff that changed Franklin. You know, um, one of the things, it's not just never outshine the master that really stuck out with me. It was the fact that it was also him hating his father. There were a lot of like very powerful keys in this TV show, but like they foreshadowed Franklin becoming an alcoholic seasons before it actually happened. I mean, because they every time Franklin would be like in a bar setting or around people drinking, they would offer him a drink. He would always say he don't drink. So the director, these people, they knew to let the audience know, the viewer know, that Franklin don't mess around. On top of the script of him resenting his father, you know what I'm saying? What's crazy is, you know how Tyler Durden say the things you own end up owning you? I can now see new context on a deeper level where the things you hate, you end up becoming because it consumes you. And unbeknownst to yourself, you start making unconscious decisions that lead you down the same path that you supposedly hate. And I think that this is a big takeaway in regards to if we're thinking in terms of healing and self-propulsion in a positive light so that you don't repeat certain cycles and synchronicities. I believe letting go of that hate can actually keep that from happening to people, whether it's fictitious or real life. Because you can see it in real life. People repeat the cycles and synchronicities or these generational curses when it comes to poverty, drug addicts, alcoholism, failed marriages, yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? People never going to college, never completing school, things of that nature. We perpetuate certain cycles, right? And it's because it's embedded in us. So I believe that love can overshadow hate and prevent a man or a woman from going down the same path that they supposedly despise. Snowfall, I believe that a lot of us wanted Franklin to win. I don't think that it's cool for them to have ended it like that, but I totally get it. Um, it's not just never outshine the master that sticks out, it's greed as well. Greed was probably the primary catalyst for the destruction of their kingdom. People wanting more. It gets to a point where you can only spend and have so much. It gets to a point where you have to actually identify money only has so much value. I'm not the wealthiest person on the planet, but I can imagine that when you are the wealthiest person on the planet, you're not so much concerned with money anymore. You're more concerned with power, connections, right? You've already conquered money. So now how do you keep living? How do you find interest? How do you find drive? Power. Now you're seeking these different avenues. So I wish that they would have came to this conclusion sooner. That would have stopped their greed. Once you're pulling in millions, you guys don't have to do anything anymore. You know what I mean? Y'all can create y'all escape and disappear. But when the greed kicks in and the ego kicks in, it'll blind you from base reality. And base reality is you are all already rich and it never had to come to this. Period. But the echo chamber, the ego, keeps you locked in and then it destroys you. And that's something else I want to give y'all. Watch out for your greed. Watch out for your greed, because greed, they say pride comes before the fall. I believe any of these mentalities come from the fall. I believe that if you cultivate any of these unhealthy mentalities too long, the fall is right around the corner. It's not just pride. It's greed. It's ego. It's envy. It's wrath. It's all of this stuff. If you feed that beast too much, it will become strong enough to destroy. And that's what I want to give y'all today. For all of those rooting for Franklin Saint, maybe we should start a season 7 petition, get Franklin back in the game and he retire, and you know what I mean, he wins in this story. I think that the ending was a very powerful takeaway because so often in the hood you see people like that. So many people in the drug game die. So many people go to prison. So many people do end up using the drugs that they were selling. I've seen that coming up in Detroit. So many people, like, seriously, end up in the streets, man. It's crazy. So I think that the whole full circle, how they did it, was elegant and beautifully done. But it's extremely painful to watch a character that you started to grow compassion for, empathy for, a likeness, a fondness for. You were rooting for them, to see them go down such a path of destruction. That actually hurts as a viewer. But anyway, I just wanted to give y'all my perspective on some of the most important keys, and I believe turning points, and greed and ego was a part of that. And ultimately, if you look at any kingdom, the destruction of any kingdom usually starts when the minds disconnect, just like what happened to Franklin Saint. So, rest in peace, Snowfall. I'm gone.